that we're about to get this game underway. The referee is Mr. Cook, and Telford will be kicking from our right to left. Here's Blakeman to feet of Adams. Turner playing right wing back, wearing short sleeve shirt today. Very mild here in Wellington, blustery conditions. Sun's gone in for a time being behind the clad. Ball's back up towards the halfway line. Keeler quite ambitiously tries to launch it forward, and it goes straight out of play, and Ingram will pick it out the stand and prepare to take this goal kick. What an atmosphere, Steve. This is what it's all about, and it also shows the potential for this club to get into a blue square at Premier as well.
Yeah, it does. I think, you know, I'd like 22, probably, well, it'd be 23, wouldn't it? Big games next season for Telford, and no doubt about it, this is a huge game for Telford, but you'd like to be playing York City in the league. York themselves are struggling at the moment and might even find themselves in the Blue Square North next season. Hopefully, you know, Telford will sort of wave on the way up. But it's a big game for both clubs in many ways, really. Telford in that probably the league's gone. York in that it's a bit of a distraction from their relegation dogfight, and they really are in the thick of it.
Well, ball's on this right-hand side. Here come York. First chance to get the ball under their feet. Adam Boyes is on the ball at the moment. And he's pushed away back to the halfway line. Good jostling there by Blakeman. Ball's injected back through. Maybe an early chance. Early shot from a number 9, Daniel McBreen. But it goes behind. But he did well to get into that position. And Telford, their defence has been a bit sloppy in the last couple of games. They need to make sure they're on a ball straight from the off today.
Well, I think they're going to be a bit nervous to start off with. The ball just came over Gavin Cowan's head there, and really maybe should have been better positioned and be able to head it away, but he let it go behind him, and we've always got the risk of someone like Daniel McBreen coming on the end of it. And thankfully for Telford, he put it wide.
Well, here come Telford. Moore's chasing this one down. Headers back towards the hands of Ingram Boat, and it's going to be Ingram to try and launch this one forward. As all the players regroup back into the Telford half. Cowan's picking up the number 18, Adam Boyes, who we mentioned just a few moments ago. It's a long kick forward up towards the edge of the area. It's a super kick. Maybe another shot here, and it spoons away. Meredith will probably let it run out of play. Boyes chases it down, and it runs out of play for a throw-in. It's the FA Trophy semi-finals, live here on BBC Radio Shropshire, your number 1 station for sport in the county. And a throw-in's taken. Brown heads it on, looking for more. Moore just playing behind Andy Brown, it would seem, Steve.
I think so. I think he'll just be looking to get the flick-ons, maybe use his pace a little bit. It's about time that Lee Moore really put in a 90-minute performance, and hopefully he's been given a huge chance now. Hopefully he can take it, because I really rate Lee Moore. It's just whether he applies himself correctly on the game and whether his positional sense is there. But hopefully today, again, you know, big chance for him, and let's hope he takes it.
The opening stages of this game. 3 minutes gone here at Newbury said. Meredith takes this throw-in up towards the near post, headed away. Good header. Back out to Meredith. Volleys it back across. Here's Turner. Heads it into a danger area. Headed away. They appeal for offside. Linesman's flag stays down. Here's McBreen, who had a shot in the first minute. Gets it through to the centre circle. It's Gillingham 1, Shrewsbury 0, and an early goal for Gillingham in that game. Now Turner's pressuring Danny Parslow, the captain, and Parslow's forced to put that out of play for a Telford throw-in.
It's good play from Jimmy Turner, and what the back 5 does, or the back 3 as centre halves does, is really lets him run at defenders, because, you know, probably more naturally he's a pacey player, isn't he? He likes to get forward a little bit, maybe not as naturally as Lee Vaughan does, but it's again another big chance for him without Lee Vaughan.
More to the feet of Turner, puts his foot onto it and gets it back towards Keeler. Keeler's got to be careful not to get caught there. Curtis Weston got the goal for the Gills against Shrewsbury, and it's Arsenal 1, Blackburn 0 as well in the Premier League. Arshavin has scored there. Ball goes out of play again on Telford's right. It's going to be a Bucks throw-in, and you can feel the tension in the atmosphere, can't you, Steve? Martin Foyle, he's issuing instructions, pointing to his players. He's got his notes in his hand as well. He's watched Telford a couple of times, but it's the opening stages of this game. The fans aren't quite sure what to do, really, with themselves.
No, they're not. It's a strange one, isn't it? 2 legs. It was the same at Barrow away in the Blue Square North playoffs last season. You know, it was a bit difficult of an atmosphere, really. It was whether Telford could keep hold of it and bring it back to Telford. But of course, this is the opposite way round, and Telford have got to do the hard work and go to York next Saturday.
Great header by Brown to keep it in play. He found Blakeman, and then Blakeman's pass just goes through the gap. It runs out of play for a goal kick, but you could see what he was trying to do. Moore was making a run. Brown was trying to make a run after he kept the ball in play, and that's what they've got today. They've got the aerial presence of Andy Brown. It's just a shame he can't play alongside Danny Bertram, who is the joint top leading scorer for AFC Telford United this season. Of course, before the game we heard from Bobby Irvine, who I'm sure is listening to BBC Radio Shropshire, a goalkeeping legend for the club. Here's Brown though, tries to break through the gap. Good defending by the number 2, Ben Purkiss. Bobby Irvine with fond memories of the winning the cup and also losing in the final as well in the FA Trophy. And Telford really do want to write a new chapter since they reformed, Steve.
Of course they do. I mean, to tell me, probably 4.5 years ago when we were playing North Ferriby United in the first ever game for Telford, that we'd be playing York City, almost going to Wembley and almost being promoted into the Blue Square Premier. 4.5 years later, then I'd have probably, I'd certainly taken it, and I'd probably called you crazy, but that's the position that Telford are in. A lot of hard work, determination has got that far. Hopefully there's going to be the end product of either promotion or a Wembley final, or maybe even both.
Great atmosphere, great colours of people's shirts as well here today. Lots of white of a Telford strip, and also the York City colours as well. Sky blue in their home strip, a darker navy blue and red. And lots of tension. I'm sure Steve Bowyer and Matt Sumwriter is nervous, just like me and you listening to his game. As another ball, searching ball goes forward. Ingram picks it up inside the area. Balloons as well are being popped by the Stewart Strand left-hand side. And it's a great atmosphere here at New Buckstead in the FA Trophy. At Telford 0, York City 0, and we've had nearly 7 minutes, 7 minutes exactly on the stopwatch. Cowan heads this away from a D. Picks up Adams. Adams appeals for handball. The referee, Mr. Cook, spotted that. And just high hands from the York midfielder. And Telford have a free kick midway inside their own half. They want to take it short. They will do. Here's Keeler. Just takes his time, lofts it forward, looking for Brown again. Controls it with his chest. He's got Turner behind him. Blakeman makes a run forward as well and chips it down the line. Blakeman wearing a different shirt today, number 9. For people who want to know. Adams keeps it in next to the corner flag. Brown, heavy touch first time, can't keep it in. But Telford have started off very brightly. You're going to see a good game of football this afternoon.
Well, I was unlucky there from Brown. Did the right thing, got the ball behind the defence. I think that's what you've got to do in this kind of game is get it behind the defence and look to whip it in with pace. We've seen Telford score so many goals, it seems, when Andy Brown has gone to the right, cut it back in, and it's been one of the strikers to turn it in. Telford lacking in options today, and only Lee Moore up alongside him, but he's certainly in there, and had the ball gone in, could have been a chance for Telford, so good play.
BBC Radio Shropshire live here from a New Buckstead. The whole sports show with Adam Green is being presented from here. It's a big day for AFC Telford United and our other clubs. Shrewsbury Town, of course, in League 2. Biggest game of the season, Paul Simpson said. They're trailing so far 1-0. Stuart Dunn and Steve Cross there on 96 FM for that game. Another long ball forward again goes into the York City penalty area. Ingram this time decides not to pick it up and just rolls it out of the penalty area. And he'll look to probably utilise the left wing and plays it forward, looking for Boyes again. Good head on. Here's McBreen. Gets a low cross into the near post. Cowan clears it out of play. He appealed, but it went off the number 15, Simon Rusk. Referee, though, gives a corner right in front of the York City supporters behind Ryan Young's goal.
Yeah, it looked to be that way. They're playing 4-3-3 today, York. They like to play with 3 strikers, often quite narrow, but that time they're getting it wide down the left, and it is a good move by York.
They take it short, maybe a chance to get it in. Drilled in! Oh, it's a goal! It's a screamer into the centre of the goal, and it's Simon Rusk who scores it from an acute angle outside the penalty area. He hit it like a thunderous shot, and it goes straight into the centre of the goal, and York City have taken an early lead in the FA Trophy.
A complete nightmare from Telford. It should have been picked up, played it ever so short, and John Adams just did the simple thing, drop the shoulder, go on the inside, but I'm sorry, he shouldn't have, 5 seconds to tee up a shot from that distance. Really poor defending from Telford. You have to say good strike, but poor defending from Telford. And yet again, concede an early goal with it all to do.
Well, it's an early goal for York City on the clock. 10 minutes have gone, and they've got the dream start. Martin Foyle's side. And Telford have to try and get themselves back into this one. Two-legged semi-final, of course, in the FA Trophy, but Telford conceded 2 early goals against Vauxhall on Tuesday, and they'll want to avoid a repeat of that in the semi-finals of this competition. Rusk with the goal, and he drilled it in, didn't it? Right into the centre of goal. Ryan Young, well, he must have been, couldn't have seen the ball coming through a crowd of players, and it just went straight and ricocheted into the back of the net, and that was it. An early goal for York City. Here's Blakeman though, comes in field. He's got Rogers behind him, who's yet to get into the game. Now switches it to his left hand side. Meredith gets it under control, has to make sure the balloon doesn't get in his way. Here's Cowan, whips it in towards that penalty spot, goes over Brown's head, and now Keeler's got some defending to do. Oh, he brings down the York player. Referee waves play on. It's to Boyes, another late challenge. Rogers this time on the goal scorer Rusk. The referee just has a quick word with Rogers as he runs away. It's going to be a free kick for York, just in front of that centre circle.
Just got to wake up again for me. Telford in the midfield. That time the ball came through, and Andy Keeler was a little bit asleep. I know he's not played many games for Telford this season, and it is a big gamble for having him back into this game, but he's got to either leave it for the midfielder or shout and run, like, you know, just sprint to get the ball. But it kind of left in 2 minds, and in the end Carl Rogers gives away a free kick and York can build from it.
Keeler's played well when he's been in the side this year, but sometimes he can just get caught just for a bit of pace, I guess, and if you've got a couple of lively strikers, I'll say that's his only weakness, really.
Well, he's not going to be much sharp, is he? I mean, for all the hard work he puts in midweek in training, and you know, he keeps himself fit, keeps himself ready, but he's not going to be match fit, and maybe that comes into it. But Telford cannot concede a second goal. You think if they concede a second, York will be in all sorts of confidence. And let's face it, York aren't a form side. You know, they've been playing really poorly. They only beat Weymouth under 16s 2-0. That's how poor they've been playing, and yet Telford find themselves 1-0 down in this game.
Here's Brown, still a long way to go despite that early goal for Rusk for York City. Ball's drilled into the substitute area, the dugout for Telford, and Jimmy Turner will wait to take this throw in, and it comes. Blakeman gets it back to Turner, who continues his run down the line. Early ball to the feet of Moore, takes it to a corner flag, gets the ball through 3 players, finally cleared though, and back up towards the halfway line. Good header by McBreen. And now a chance. Boyes splits off. Cowan's got to be careful. He's got him picked up. He's concentrated on the runners coming through though. Man still on the back post. Still the runners come forward. Keeler clears it out of play, and it's going to be another throw in. And speaking to our York colleagues at the BBC before the game, Steve, they're saying Martin Foyle wants to wrap this up in the first leg, and he can see probably with their formation 4-3-3, they really do want to get a win today.
Yeah, you can, and obviously the early goal is going to give them confidence, and again they've got a set piece. It's how Telford defend this one.
In comes a throw in, headed away by Keeler. Lots of arms up there for York, and referee doesn't give a free kick, but Adams brings it away, back heels it. Good skill by Adams, finally brought down. No, the referee says, and now here come York with Boyes. Rusk on this right hand side, McBreen waiting. It's switched to the left, Rusk still unmarked. Meredith gets back into position. Ball's headed high in the air by Whitehead, and ball comes out of play. Very tense times for Telford. Here's Levi Mackin. Rusk, the goal scorer, threads it through to the number 2, Ben Purkiss. Back to Rusk. Cowan and Meredith doing their defensive duties, and Meredith did well, just got a foot in. It's going to be a throw in, but very, very tense moments here for Telford.
Just giving them too much respect, I think, at the moment. Telford, you know, not looking on the front foot. They've obviously conceded the early goal.
Then comes another long throw in, headed on. Oh, it should have been a second. And where was the marking? I think in the end it may have been, oh no, I think it wasn't Levi Mackin in the end, but a free header in front of goal. And where was Telford's defending? I think it was Richard Brodie in the end who got the header in.
And he's a danger man. You know, speaking to a few York fans before the game, and they seem to highlight him as a danger man. So definitely get out of jail card there, played from Telford, and you know they cannot defend like that. You can't miss a header and you know, let him on the end of it, because he ain't going to put it wide 3 times in a row.
It's fair to say Telford are under a lot of pressure from a Blue Square Premier side. Finally, the referee gives a free kick against Mackin, just on the centre circle, and Steve, you know, is a couple of times the referee hasn't given those, and finally he's given one.
Well, on the build-up to that attack, I thought it was a free kick to Telford. Well, Cowan plays a free kick square to Andy Keeler, and Keeler's not ready again. You know, that's poor from Keeler and Cowan. Really, bit of communication wouldn't go amiss in that position. You know, again, put them straight back under pressure. You're really flying at the moment. It's whether Telford can contain them, but you just expect better from Telford. I know they've hit a rocky patch in their form. They've obviously got their minds elsewhere, but they are, let's face it, a couple of games potentially from Wembley, and you know, a big final for the fans.
Certainly is, but they're trailing, aren't they, at the moment? AFC Telford United 0, York City 1, 15 minutes gone. In our other featured game as well, it's still Gillingham 1, Shrewsbury 0. That's with Stuart Dunn and Steve Cross on 96 FM. And a few fans around us quite pleased with that result, if not the Telford result at the moment. The ball goes out of play. It's going to be a goal kick for Telford. Remember, you can have your say after the game as well today. Phone us on 01743 248 321. People still getting refreshments in, a burger and chips and coffee. It's Hull 1, Newcastle 0 in the Premier League. Giovanni scored. He hasn't been in Phil Brown's good books recently. Ryan Young takes this goal kick and slips over again, so a bit soft underfoot still. Well, again leading with his elbow there. That was Andy McWilliams this time. Here's Turner though on the halfway line. Dinks it forward. Brown caught offside. Close, but I think he knew he was offside finally. Yeah,
just half a yard offside there, Andy Brown. As you say, as he cushioned the ball down, he looked straight to the assistant referee, and he did give the offside. But it's important for me that Telford don't panic in this game. You know, don't sort of throw everything forward. There's still an awful lot in this tie, not just in the game. You know, in the game itself, there's almost 80 minutes left in it, and in the tie, of course, you've got another 90 minutes on top of that. So it's important that Telford don't panic, but at the same time, they've got to defend better than they have been.
Here's Moore. He's got a point to prove this season, I think it's fair to say. Hasn't been in the team, and he needs to put in a good shift today for Rob Smith. Ball's headed out of play, and it's going to be a throw-in for Telford. Pejic's there with the header. It's Sunderland 0, Wigan 1 in the Premier League. Ben Watson with the goal there. Meredith takes a throw in. Adams lets it cross his path, then switches it to the right hand side. Here's Turner. He'll have a chance to get across in here. He's up against the left back, Mark Robinson. Turns well, gets a lovely ball in, and Ingram's there. In the end, he did well to get into a position to get the cross in. Just that final ball too close to the keeper.
Just decent defending as well. They all stepped up very, very quickly to stop Andy Brown getting through and goal. It's fairly clear that he wasn't going to get anywhere near it, or it'd be offside if he did. So good defending from York, but as you say, better from Telford, and that's a good ball forward as well. Just straight over the top. You know, sometimes it's not pretty to watch, but against the York side that haven't really been playing well of late, then it's important that Telford bounce back quickly without, as I say, panicking.
Good to have you with us. Live coverage here on BBC Radio Shropshire, your #1 station for sport in the county. Telford still trailing by 1 goal to York City. Our other featured games, still Gillingham 1, Shrewsbury 0, with Stuart Dunn and Steve Cross on 96 FM. Just ball running out of play. It's going to be York throw-in midway inside their own half. Speaking to Rob Smith at training on Thursday, Steve, on BBC Radio Shropshire, he was saying, quoted him really as saying, York City are very fit, strong and organised outfit. They do look a very physically fit team, don't they?
Well, they're going to be, you know, they're full-time. What people forget is that most of these Telford players have got part-time jobs or full-time jobs as well as their part-time football career and aspirations. So it's going to be difficult for Telford, you know, to play the 90 minutes against a full-time outfit. But yeah, saying that, Telford have done it how many occasions this season? Have only come a cropper once against a Southend team, you know, 2 leagues higher, so or 3 leagues higher in fact. So it's not going to be easy, but Telford, you know, they did this in the game against Southend, didn't they? At home, went 1-0 down. It looked to be like Southend were cruising to it, but then Telford finally react, and hopefully that's going to be the case again now.
Well, the referee's been very pernickety here where the ball's got to be. He's moved it a couple of inches, having a go at Rob Smith as well. Larry Chambers having a say, and just has a quick word with Meredith. Meredith tells him to go away, wants to concentrate on his duties. Meredith steps up, left-footed. Oh, it's a poor free kick, it's cleared. Adams keeps it under control though. He's going to be closed down quickly and needs to dispatch it. He does so, but it bobbles out of play, and it's going to be a throw-in for York City on their left-hand side. It's Everton 1, Stoke 0, and Joe has scored for Everton. It's proved to be a good signing for David Moyes this season in the Premier League. Whitehead wins the header in defence, does well. Mackin switches it across towards this right-hand side, picks it up again next to the centre circle, throws a dummy. Blakeman dives in too early. Here's Rusk, and then finds Boyes. Two very good players indeed. Rusk up against Meredith, and Mackin's unmarked, then steps across Whitehead with a crunching challenge. Appeals for a penalty from behind, but that was superb defending and leadership which Telford need.
Well, it was, because they were exposed again with the three up front for York. It's really exposing Telford on occasions, and again they get this time down the right hand side. Meredith really out of sorts and out of position, and Whitehead, it had to be perfect, and it was.
Well, the referee's not ready, and he'll tell them to take this corner again, having a word with, I think, Boyes and Ryan Young. Boyes just getting him the Telford keeper's way. Ryan Young wearing a yellow jersey, black shorts and yellow socks for this time. The sun comes out again, lots of cloud around though. In comes the corner towards the back post, and Brown does well to get his head onto it. Took a deflection off Pejic, I think it was, and it's going to be a goal kick for AFC Telford United. Still a very tense atmosphere here. York taking the lead after 10 minutes from a corner. Rusk was there, managed to get a strike in from outside the area, drilled it in. Ryan Young was blinded by all the players in front of him, and somehow the ball got through. Sheer pace and power, and it really went into the back of the net with some force. That gave York City the lead in the FA Trophy. The semi-final, of course, two-legged affair. We're at York City, the Kit Kat Crescent, next Saturday. Telford have another free kick here, Steve.
Yeah, they do, and it needs to be better than the last one, certainly. I mean, Meredith took that one very flat, and straight away York go on the counter-attack. It's going to be Keeler this time, just to whip it in right-footed, but they need someone on the end of it. They've got enough big men forward. Cowan's up there, Andy Brown.
Well, it's lofted in, it's high in the air. Two of the York players getting each other's way, and then Rogers pokes it out, but Blakeman picks it up in midfield. And now he's caught in possession. There's Keeler though. Vital interception, because York could have broke. Then it's going to be a free kick. The referee decided not to play on.
Well, I can't understand how you can decide not to play on, but straight away, you know, it's bizarre. The ball was going forward, it went to a Telford man. Jimmy Turner's pretty much one against one on a defence, and in the end it's brought back, and York can reconvene and reorganise themselves. But Adams will take this one now.
Adams over this one. He waits, and in it comes, and it's a bit too high, gets caught in the wind, and again the keeper Ingram takes it. And they've got to make the most of these set pieces, Steve, haven't they? Because at the moment York are the better team and putting the pressure on.
Well, York did exactly that, didn't they? You know, first set piece of the game, really, wasn't it? And straight away it's 1-0. Well, Telford coming forward now.
Here's Brown, brought down. Good challenge, I think it was in the end. Curled his foot around it, and York managed to clear it, but Brown's got a lot of work to do. They're asking a lot today. They just spotted him there. Moore was caught just a bit too far behind him, and Brown, you looked up, Brown was there up against four shirts, keeping a back four, a straight line, all in the right positions. He's going to have to work hard.
Yeah, he is, and he's struggling with an injury. You know, that's what Telford are struggling with today, is options, and they simply don't have them. Andy Brown is probably half fit, half match fit anyway, and you know, up alongside Lee Moore, he's played often as a winger this season.
Whitehead gets it in, Cowan wins a header, and the ball was desperately cleared by Boyes. And now a chance for Telford to have a corner. They need to make the most of it. They've had about 3 free kicks now, and now they need to make the most of this corner. 24 minutes gone with me, Nick Southall, and Steve Bayer, your AFC Telford United commentary team. Adam Green is here today as well, presenting the show live from a new Bucks Head. Adams gets the corner in, a better one, and again ball headed out of play. They've done their work because they've got Cowan marked up there, Steve. He's the target man.
Well, he's going to be, isn't he? Straight away, they're almost two on him as he went to the far post. It still meant one of them had to put it behind for a corner, though, and that's where Telford can build from. You know, Meredith has gone over to take this one. It's got to be better than his free kick was, because that was very flat and disappointing. It's got to be, you know, a good ball in and give Gavin Cowan a chance to get on the end of it.
You can hear the Telford fans around us, and it comes again too close to the keeper. Ingram did well to take it away from Pejic, and just waits, and that throws it out. And here's the right back, Ben Purkiss, gets it forward to Rusk. Rogers slips over, 1-2, and he gives it away. Purkiss. Here's Carl Rogers next to the centre circle, tips it forward, looking for Andy Brown. Brown heads it into a bit of space, gets well, he looked to get a shot in, tackled, and he's got the pace. He is causing them problems when he gets into those positions.
Well, he is. He's got the first touch, he's got the pace, he's got the physical ability as well. You know, it's just a question of how fit he is, but and again, Telford didn't have an option but to risk that injury. Hopefully it's going to reap rewards, because it is so far.
He might do well to stay on this left wing, because Purkiss has been suffering with an injury. Back in the team today for Martin Foyle. See if they can expose that. In comes a corner to the back post. Still in there, a bit of a melee, and it's cleared. And the referee, I think, may have given a goal kick in the end, just running out of play, Steve.
I think either a goal kick or a free kick certainly has gone in York's favour. I think it might be a goal kick, as you say, just going behind for a goal kick off one of the Telford lads. But it's better from Telford. You know, it's the first real spell of pressure without actually creating a chance, but it's much better from Telford, and having gone 1-0 down so early on in this game and in this fixture, and it's important that they can react, and they are doing that. We're seeing that.
It's TNS 1, Aberystwyth 0 at half-time. And John Lear with the goal there. Blakeman, ball goes high in the air. Rogers wins it in midfield. Gives it away though in the end. There's McBreen playing centre forward for York City. Martin Foyle standing, leaning against the dugout there. He'll be pleased with the way things are going so far for York City. Turner tries to keep it in play, and Foyle just argues it is a free kick, but it's going to be a throw-in for Telford. Everton has scored a second against Tony Pulis' side. Lescott has scored against Stoke, so Lescott again proving to be a hit from set pieces. He's got his team another goal there. Ryan Young will take this free kick for Telford. Midway inside their own half. Up he steps, it's down the right wing. Brown will try and keep it in. Nods it infield, looking for more. And ball goes high in the air. And this time it's going to be a free kick. Turner holding down, I think it was Brodie there, just in that midfield battle. Lee Moore then, Steve. How do you think he's shaping up alongside Brown?
Well, it's a difficult one for him today, as I say. You know, he's been employed really as a striker, isn't he? Second striker. He's played a lot of his season when he's been in the team as a winger this season, so it's difficult for him today. But you do think that if he gets half a chance, he's got to take it to stand any chance of being in the team come Tuesday night, and when everyone's back in contention and fit again.
Ryan Young again has another opportunity to get this long. He's kicking into the wind at the moment. Brown again heads it infield, looking for more. And ball's kicked out of play. The Bucks have another throw in. Still York are leading this game by 1-0. And our other featured team as well, Shrewsbury Town, are trailing as well on this big day of sport here on BBC Radio Shropshire. Gillingham 1, Shrewsbury 0. That's on 96 FM with Stuart Dunn and Steve Cross. Ryan Young throws his hat early. Here's Can in defence for Telford. Injects it forward, looking for Brown. Again the captain, Parlow heads it away. Here's Adams, tackled in midfield. Rogers steams through, Blakeman's there. That was a fair challenge for me from Carl Rogers. And the referee has a quick word. It's going to be a free kick for the away team.
Well, I don't understand how it's a foul. I mean, he's headed the ball. You know, he's come through the player, but he's headed the ball. And if you're a tough tackling midfielder like Carl Rogers hasn't been in his career, he's only just sort of started doing that this season, then it's what you expect from your midfielder. But referee brings it back for a free kick. It's just a shame that that's the case, because that was a good move from Telford again. Fairly simple ball through, but a bit of physical presence in the midfield, and who knows what was on the end of it had the referee not given a foul.
29 minutes gone here at the New Buckshead. Telford 0, York 1. The goal scorer after 10 minutes, Rusk, with a thunderous shot just outside the area from a short corner. Telford have a throw in. Turner throws it forward again looking for Brown. Telford a bit too predictable sometimes, I think, and they're looking for Brown, which makes York know who to pick up on these times when they have it in midfield. Here's Boyes' vote, lays it back to the right back, Purkiss, balls forward again, Cowan wins the header in defence, Meredith gives it away, looking for Blackman on the halfway line. Here's Mackin. Adams did well to get the tackle in as Mackin looked to round the ball and get around him. And then Rogers booted out of play, looking for an ambitious ball, it's fair to say, on this left wing.
More than ambitious. I think that's a ball that you try when you're 3-0 up, and it probably goes, in play, and Telford can build from it. But unfortunately, he just overcooked that one. Didn't really need to do it as well. Could have put his foot on the ball and really picked out another option. That was a bit of poor decision making from him there.
Whitehead towers above the striker, heads it into the centre circle. Mackinbo picks it up for York. Ball's played back to Ingram, and he does well. Good safe goalkeeper, Ingram. Very good record indeed. But they are struggling, York City, in the Blue Square Premier. 18th at the moment. Telford have been in poor form in the last couple of games against Kings Lynn and Vauxhall, though, haven't they? And they need a better performance this afternoon. A bit of frustration from the Telford fans. Meredith was open on this left-hand side, but Telford looked to switch it to the right. Eventually they come back to this left. And here's Cowan to the feet of Moore. Just comes off his marker on the edge of the area. He's got 3 shirts around him. Here's Cowan again, back to Moore. They're working the ball well here, Telford. Moore again will probably look for Cowan. Meredith stays up for him. Cowan tries to chip it forward, closed down by Rusk, and it's going to be a throw-in for Telford. But you can just see McBreen there just blowing his cheeks out, but they are working the ball around as well there, Steve.
Yeah, it's a good early throw as well, finds Andy Brown. That's brilliant work from Meredith.
Meredith gets the ball in towards the near post, cleared by Pejic. Couldn't take any risks. It's going to be a corner. Ingram just picks him up and says well done, because that was a fairly dangerous ball towards that near post. Always a bit of uncertainty. Not sure who's going to clear it for you. Telford have a corner. Yeah,
it was good. It was. I'm not sure whether it had got through to John Adams, but safety first as a defender.
In comes the corner. Again too close to Ingram. Punched away. Whitehead will keep it Imbo. Oh, it's a poor first touch by Stuart Whitehead, the captain. Blakeman slips over. That's 3 times Telford players have slipped over. Not exactly sure what type of footwear they're wearing. And then it goes out of play for a throw-in. So we've seen the best of Telford there and the worst.
Yeah, just needed a bit more confidence there, Whitehead, maybe to just drag it back and take him on. But I guess he's a centre half. He's just playing the percentage ball. But in the end, it comes to nothing again when Telford have really built some pressure. Not quite the end product yet, though, from Telford.
Ball's high in the air. Headed clear by Parslow. Blakeman in Telford's midfield. Brown's beaten in the air. I think he may have caught Parslow there, but no arguments. Rob Smith catches the ball. It's going to be York City throw in. And we've had 33 minutes gone nearly, Steve. Telford 1 goal behind. They need a goal just to settle their nerves, because you would think if Telford got a goal, then they could well go on and win this one.
I mean, York certainly had the upper hand in the first 15 minutes, of course, got the goal, which is all important. But Telford have really responded well. But saying that, Michael Ingram hasn't had much to do. It's all been very much in front of the York City defence, and you just want a better final ball off for Telford.
Well, they may get caught again here. Here's Rusk, looks to get the ball in. Another cross is blocked, this time by Rogers against the right back who made the run forward, Ben Purkiss. And he'll have a chance to throw this one in. They're playing 4-3-3, of course, Martin Foyle's side today. He's been watching Telford quite a lot. Here's Mackin. Brown steps back to help out his teammates. Mackin again picks it up. They're working it around well here, York. Ball's back to Purkiss. Midway side for Telford half. Telford have got lots of shirts back. Purkiss again comes forward, then gives it away. Adams hits it high in the air. Still Gillingham 1, Shrewsbury 0. Whitehead wins a header, gets it forward. Here's Blakeman. I think Telford playing 3 midfield isn't quite just working for them at the moment. Blakeman hasn't started the game well. Here's Rusk. Boyes may get a chance to shoot. Saved by Ryan Young straight at the keeper. And he throws it out early to Meredith. And a chance for Telford to come forward.
It's again decent play from York that time, just switching it over. In the end, the shot which Telford haven't really had a shot at all, have they, in the first half? You know, that's a disappointing, frustrating thing. But as I say, they can't panic. You know, there's been some good work which has created set pieces. They haven't quite done much with them.
Yeah, they got the goal after 10 minutes through Rusk. They've had another couple of opportunities with Brodie. Just talking of Brodie, Keeler's the wrong side of him. Brodie shoots! Oh, what a save from Ryan Young! Keeler was completely the wrong side of Brodie. Brodie hit it. It sat up nicely for him. It looked like it was going into a top right-hand corner. There was Ryan Young, and he keeps his team from going 2 goals behind.
Well, now would be a good time for Telford to wake up to those. I mean, so many balls over the top from York, and it's often out to the left of Richard Brodie. You know, Brodie is definitely the danger man. You know, he's in quite a poor York side in terms of their lead position at the moment. He's still playing very well and scoring a few goals as well. It's important that Telford pick him up, but Keeler just a little bit slow to react to Brodie's threat there.
They take it short again. Rusk again. This time lost it in. Ball maybe kept in by Parslow. No, he runs out of play. And it's going to be a goal kick for AFC Telford United. And that's what you need from your goalkeeper, Ryan Young, with a superb save to keep Telford, well, from going 2 goals behind. And it really would be a very difficult task to try and level it today. Of course, it's a 2-legged semi-final, so still a lot to play for. Still 1-0 to York though. Moore puts pressure on. Parslow got the final touch. It's going to be a Telford throw-in next to the corner flag on that right-hand side. And Turner will look to take it. Midfield for me, Steve, just hasn't quite settled down in the game yet.
Yeah, you'd expect 3 against 3 in midfield. It'd be fairly even, but it's not really been that the case, has it? So the ball goes over the top from Liam Blakeman there. I haven't really seen too much from Blakeman on the ball yet. Just Carl Rogers and John Adams seem to be pulling the strings, or trying to, in the midfield. Certainly John Adams, the way he reads the game and, you know, his passing ability, then he's the key man in that midfield for Telford.
Has a knack of scoring goals just at the right time as well. He scored 2 against Southend, didn't he? Remember Workington last year. And I wonder if John Adams could prove to be a Telford hero today. He's done ever so well since signing from Leamington Spa. Shows what he can do when you look around at teams lower down. And Rob Smith certainly brought in a few bargains while he's been at AFC Telford United. Ryan Young this time just rolls in out of his penalty area and then launches this one forward up towards Brown. Adams now. Meredith makes a run wide on his left hand side. Meredith runs it in. He's got Moore in front of him. Moore's in a no position really there. Didn't really offer anything for it, Meredith. Adams turns. Now Moore does get into a space. He holds the ball up well. He's got 2 around him. Parslow, Purkiss. Moore runs it back. Blakeman makes a late run, but he's asking too much of Moore. Here's Meredith though. He needs to try and get a corner here. Gets it to the near post. Mackingmore clear it though, up towards the halfway line. Here's Whitehead. Heads it forward. Good distance on it. Moore gets it under control. Then slips over. I don't know what Telford are doing at the moment, whether they've got studs or trainers on. But here's Brodie, wide on the left-hand side. Now York are throwing shirts forward. McBreen waiting on the back post. Good tackle by Keeler. It's going to be a corner.
Again, though, they've got to wake up to Richard Brodie. Whether it's a formation at the moment that's meaning that Jimmy Turner can't quite track him back because of the wing-backs, I don't know, but he's getting so much space on the left-hand side. Indy Keeler, he's not going to outpace him. He's not going to be stronger than him. And in the end, it's just a brilliant tackle from Keeler, which forces the corner. But again, it's a corner that, of course, York scored from in the first 10 minutes as well.
They're taking 2 short corners. This time it's a traditional one. Towards the back post. Poor marking again. Meredith. I think it was Rogers actually in the end. And Meredith were guilty there. Boys finding too much room. And, you know, last Saturday, the defence didn't play too well against Kings Lynn. It was all over the place against Vauxhall, it's fair to say, on Tuesday. We're not normally critical of Telford's defence, but there come times when you have to be, Steve. Well, just a few times in this first half as well.
The thing is, it's fairly basic defending as well, you know, it's nothing special. The ball's come so far, they've whipped it in from a corner, it's gone to the far post, and no one in a Telford shirt is there. You know, you'd expect at least 1, maybe 2 defenders there to head the ball away, but in the end, Carl Rogers just about does enough. Almost gives away a penalty because of it, but the York City man didn't really make too much of it. But, you know, it's just flat defending from Telford at the moment.
Brand controls it well again with his chest. Ben runs into danger. Ben catches a York player, may get a yellow card here. Brand gets straight to his feet, and I fear that Brand may get sent off here. To me, it wasn't a bad challenge, but Brand's reaction was, "Oh, please don't send me off."
Yeah, I think he's gone straight to the ref. Clearly, the York City fans and the management and the players aren't happy with it. But I thought actually his body language as he went into the challenge, it's just an overzealous challenge, isn't it? I think it will be a yellow card to Andy Brown on his return from injury. But it's just the kind of work rate that he does put in. It's typical forwards challenge, fairly reckless, but don't think there's any malice in there.
No, Andy Brown's not that type of player either, and it's going to be yellow card. He'll go and check on the York player as well. An important goal at Molineux. Wolves 1, Charlton 0. Mick McCarthy's side taking a lead. Chris Uwalumu has scored for Mick McCarthy's team at Molineux. Big game for them in the Championship. Another big game for Shrewsbury Town, their biggest of the season, against Gillingham in 5th in League 2. They're still trailing by 1-0. And if you want to listen to the latter stages of that one for Shrewsbury fans, that's on 96 FM with Stuart Dunn and Steve Cross. I think it may be Pejic who's down injured there. I'll have to wait and see. I think it may be Sean Pejic.
It's McWilliams, I think. McWilliams just getting to his feet now, being ushered off the field, of course. He's got to go off. He's had treatment, so York City temporarily down to 10 men. And Telford, thankfully, not down to 10 men, with Andy Brown just showing a book in there.
It is McWilliams who goes off, shows his number on the back of his shirt. Another goal in the Premiership as well. Newcastle have drawn level against Hull, and Stephen Taylor, of all people, has scored, the defender there for Newcastle. Giovanni with the first. Free kick for Telford. The bit of shirt pulling going on there through the midfield. And the Bucks have a free kick midway inside their own half. It was interesting speaking to Bobby Irvine during the week, Steve, of course, goalkeeper for Telford. And he lost in the FA Trophy final, 1-1, but great memories. And, you know, speaking of Jack Bentley and the legends of Telford United, and the Telford players today have a chance to do that as well, don't they? So you just break away, ball's cleared out of the York penalty area. Here's Blakeman in midfield, heads it forward. Adams keeps it in play. Here's Moore. He's got 3 shirts around him, runs into a bit of trouble, but he keeps it though. Does well here, Lee Moore. And if he gets a cross in, he'll do ever so well. Takes it to the corner flag. It's high in the air. The ball goes out of play. It's going to be a goal kick. But, you know, when we talk about these legends, 20 years' time, we could be talking about John Adams, Andy Brown.
Yeah, we could do. I mean, probably the FA Trophy, because of the 2-up, 2-down system, hasn't. You know, in those days, it was very much an election if you got into the league. Now, probably a little bit taken off from the FA Trophy, but it's still a massive, massive day out for the club, for the fans, for the management, for the team, to play at Wembley and for us to commentate at Wembley. I mean, it would certainly be the pinnacle of whatever we do in sports reporting. I'm sure the fans feel the same, and the players feel the same as well. You know, promotion would be very nice, but for the day out, for the occasion, and for what it means to this club, and Wembley would be fantastic as well. That
was a free kick. It was a nasty challenge on Lee Moore, and a high elbow. He fell to the ground. It's going to be a free kick for Telford, midway inside the York City half. And now a chance to really whip this in the closing stages of his first half. 43 minutes gone. Telford 0, York City 1. Boy, they'd love a goal now.
Well, it'd be great. Almost at a quarter time, wouldn't it be? In the half time in this game, of course, 2 legs.
Meredith gets it in. Again, too close to the keeper. Catches it. Drops it. It's still in there. Oh, the referee. I'm sure it's a York player. They got in the way there. And so how he's given a free kick against Telford, I just do not know.
It was his own player. I don't want to... Oh, I tell you what. I cannot understand that. It's clearly a blue shirt underneath the keeper. I mean, OK, Michael Ingram looks to be injured a little bit, but how you can give a free kick for that?
The ball was still live and Telford had a chance. The keeper was down.
OK, if the referee thinks it's a head injury, which it clearly isn't, it looks like he's just ripped his back a little bit or his stomach, then you can give a free kick, but I cannot understand it. A York City man is clearly under the keeper goes down, loses the ball. Telford have a chance. Admittedly, didn't put it away, but didn't get the opportunity to do so either.
Well, the referee's got that wrong, hasn't he? And actually, you know, looking back at that incident, it could have been an opportunity for AFC Telford United to get the equaliser. It isn't. He gave a free kick, and we're moments away from the half-time whistle here at the New Buckshead. Still Gillingham 1, Shrewsbury 0. It's a massive, massive day of football here on BBC Radio Shropshire. Both our teams with probably their biggest games of the season so far. Just to remind you, Telford will be live on 96 FM, BBC Radio Shropshire on Tuesday at Blythe Spartans, and we'll bring you the whole game live of that one. And then, of course, from a Bootham Crescent, we'll be presenting the show live from York City as well, again here on BBC Radio Shropshire for the second leg of this semi-final. You're listening to me, Nick Southland, Steve Bowyer. Good to have you with us wherever you are. 3 minutes of added on time at the end of this first half, and it seems both the York players are okay. We're going to get this game back underway. Ingram with a long kick forward, hasn't affected his kicking there. Brodie wins a header again. Whitehead pokes it through a tight gap. Here's John Adams, and now a chance to get the ball forward. Ball bobbles out of play, and it's going to be a throw-in for the Bucks.
Well, it'd be good if Telford could react before the half-time whistle in this game. 3 minutes now to do so, and you know, it's frustrating really that Telford, they've only really looked weak down the left-hand side or down their right-hand side without Lee Vaughan there. You know, you'd expect that they will be struggling, and that is the case. But Richard Brodie, for me, is the only really one that's caused some damage, apart from the actual goal. And well.
Maybe they'll start to believe that though, Steve, as well.
Well, you'd hope so. You'd hope so. That I think the negative factor is that they're playing against a hutch in the first half, and so often is the case that Telford seem to raise a game when they're playing in the hutch in the second half. But unfortunately, that's not the case, and they'll have to play towards the York fans in the second half instead.
Well, McBreen steaming through. Ryan Young comes out of his area. Whitehead just stepped across McBreen's path. Good defending by Stuart Whitehead, and now Young rolls it out of his area. McBreen presses him, and he gets it forward again. The sun comes out here. Beautiful weather in Wellington. Bit too much cloud though. It could be a lovely day without all this cloud around. Here's Rogers. Keeler overlaps, showing a bit of confidence. Gets the ball now from Adams on that right, and then gives it away. Here's Turner, brought down. It's going to be a free kick. Brodie's picked up a knock.
Again, play on. You know, the ball switched to John Adams. He's almost cleared through on goal, and the referee's brought it back for a free kick. Free kick it was, definitely. But just play the advantage role. You know, it's not hard to do. Just look what happens for 10 seconds, and then bring it back if Telford don't have the ball. Simple.
Telford are coming back into this game after what's fair to say a very, very tense and nervous start. They're coming back into it here at the New Buckshead, and they'd love to get an equaliser here. This will be the last chance, I'm sure, of the first half. Meredith takes his free kick, and it comes again. It's a high one. Cowan strikes the thigh of Keeler, and now the referee gives a free kick, saying it was handball. I'm pretty sure it struck his thigh, but the referee was closer than we were in our commentary position, so he's in a better position to give that one than we are, Steve. But Telford just showing a bit more belief coming into it. But for me, I've been so frustrated on the set pieces, because again, for me, that ball was just hanging a bit too high in the air. York are good in defence at heading it away. Just whip it in and try and see if you can get the ball ricocheting around in that box.
Well, they look organised, don't they, York? And you know, they look a fit side, they look a big side, and as you say, you think their undoing maybe would be to get it in behind them, as they did so early on in the game. But of course, York got the early goal and have been fairly comfortable since. Telford have had a lot of possession in the first half, particularly in the last 20 minutes, but done really nothing with it. No, Michael Ingram hasn't had a save to make. Telford haven't really had a shot on target or off target, so I'm sure York City will be happier than Rob Smith and Larry Chambers at the moment.